front of people sitting at home or wherever you might be, the focus that it takes to stay engaged, and I would hope that you would stay engaged in every aspect of this conference, because there's so many great things that you're going to learn and that you're going to get out of it. You're going to leave this with a lot more clarity on what you need to do and what's available to you through this opportunity with My Daily Choice. So I've done a lot of different trainings over the past couple of years with you guys. I just want to have a very, I guess, straightforward conversation, right? I don't know. Most of you that have seen me, I don't beat around the bush. I'm just direct in how I do things. So, like, if we look at 2020, 2020's been a trip. It's been weird, okay? It's been interesting, to say the least, right? And I'm sure some people will call it challenging, and I know it's been challenging for people maybe that have lost their jobs or weren't able to go to work, and, now with kids maybe not going back to school, and it's definitely been a year of years. But I think it's how we respond or react to situations that define us and make us, it really separates us from others who, may have something happen to them, like, oh, somebody cuts you off in a car, you can get all angry and bent out of shape, or you can go, hey, man, you're obviously in a rush, have at it, bro, get after it, right? The same scenario, same situation, but it's how they respond that makes the biggest difference. And I'm not gonna be able to do this quote exactly, but I know Martin Luther King Jr. has a quote. It's not in moments of comfort and the definition of a man is not where he is in times of comfort and convenience, but in times of challenge and controversy. That's not the exact quote, but that's essentially what he said. And I think that is a very powerful way of looking at things. It's how we respond to situations that make the greatest difference. And look, I know that you guys as a company have done exceptionally well throughout 2020 in spite of the challenges that we've seen around us. And I don't need to list them off. I mean, it's pretty obvious what's been going on. But how you respond to it is what makes the difference. So, I think that's a defining moment for a brand new person in network marketing, or even someone who's a leader who's maybe been around the business for a while, is how do you respond to challenges? How do you respond to controversy? How do you respond to scenarios that are thrown your way? Somebody throws you a curveball that you weren't waiting for, and how do you respond to it? And I think we get to choose every single day. We have the ability as human beings to choose. We can choose to dig into all of it and be humdrum and whatever, or we can decide to rise above it all and use this time that we're in to be more, to do more, to grow more, to learn more. The fact that you're here is an amazing thing. You're here to learn, you're here to grow, you're here to experience all of what this amazing company has to offer. But I think you also need to look at, what's interesting is, like, well, I don't know, it was back in mid-March. I was doing a whole bunch of trainings for different organizations, and I knew that with this COVID stuff that was going on, people were going to be kind of spun. And I had people coming to me like, hey, Todd, should I even be building my business right now? Is it insensitive for me to be building my business right now? So that's like one way of thinking, right? Is it insensitive for me to go talk to people given all that's going on? And my response every time this was asked of me was like, no, it's insensitive for you to not to, because there are people that are suffering, people that are at home that don't know what their financial future is going to be, that don't know if they're going to go back to work or if their company is going to continue to be there. And I believe it's insensitive for us as network marketers to not share what it is that we are as a profession and what you guys are as a company with My Daily Choice. So, again, that comes to a decision, right? It's like, okay, well, we've been issued this challenge, we've been dished this curveball. Well, how do I respond to that scenario? What can I do to rise above it all? And if we look at the word manifestation, there's different definitions of it, essentially, but it's taking your thoughts and your beliefs and your feelings and using those to manifest, to create whatever it is that you want to create. What do you want to manifest? That would be something that I would, in your notes, be thinking about. What do I want to manifest for myself? What kind of life do I want to have? Well, what kind of future do I want to have? And the way for you to create a brighter future for yourself and be able to manifest something amazing is for you to have crystal clear clarity with exactly what it is that you want. And I've worked with enough people over the years that I know that most people aren't vividly clear on exactly what they want their life to look like 12 months down the road, 5 years down the road, or way down into the future. But the moment you turn that thought, right? We're talking about manifestation. Because a thought is the seed that's planted. There's a book called Think and Grow Rich. The first chapter is thoughts are things. When I first saw the book, I was like, oh my gosh, you can just think and grow rich. That's awesome. Well, that didn't happen. Well, I didn't understand the book that it's a thought that's the seed that's planted that creates the action that ultimately creates the result. So what we focus on grows, right? If we whatever you're focused on, like if you're focused on the challenge gets bigger. If you're focused on the solution, then you're not focused on the challenge. So you're focusing on getting outside of the challenge or rising above the challenge and moving forward through it. But again, if you're focused on the negative, or you're focused on what's been going on, and you're pulled into the drama and the stuff that's happened over the last 5 months since whatever mid-March, that's going to grow. And that I don't think that's a powerful position for you to be in. And yeah, we've had as a country, as a planet, it's been a challenging year. But this is your opportunity to rise above it all, if you haven't yet already, by thinking differently, by shifting your beliefs, by working on your feelings. Well, how do we change our feelings? Well, I think one of the things, in fact, if I were to give you a leadership tip here, is okay. Well, if I really want to be a leader, and if I want to be a winner, right? If I want to do what winners do, if I want to know exactly what a winner does versus somebody who doesn't succeed here, well, the people that I see that win in this business have a never-ending thirst, this unquenchable desire for improvement. The Japanese have a term for it. It's called kaizen, constant and never-ending improvement. And it can be really easy. Let's just be honest here. It can be really easy to not grow. It can be really easy to stay doing the same thing over and over again and not improving. But I would implore you, I would encourage you, I would say to you that one of the most important things that you can do to manifest whatever it is, and I'm sure whatever you're wanting to manifest is amazing, right? Whatever you want to turn into reality into the future is something great, right? And if you really truly want something great to happen in your life, then greatness comes by improving yourself. Like, you can only earn to what you are in the marketplace. So like, your objective should be like, how can I increase the value that I bring into the marketplace? How can I become more in order for me to earn more? In fact, I had a chance to speak with Jim Rohn several times before he passed away several years ago, and I don't think that's his exact quote. I'm like, don't ask me to be the exact quote, or I can give you most of the quote, but that's in order for you to earn more, you must first become more. When I started in this profession, I knew nothing about it. I had no skills. I had no knowledge. I had no expertise. I was brand new to it, but I had the desire, the hunger to improve and to understand how to do this business. The fact that you're here is a great sign. But this is a never-ending, like that Kaizen thing, the constant and never-ending improvement. And if you do that for yourself, like, I am always in a growth mode. Because I think the universe is always in motion. If we're not in motion, but the universe is in motion, we're sliding back, right? If you're not progressing, if you're not, another term for it would be to be like relevancy. If you're not staying relevant, right? Like, let's say the internet happened and you don't even know what the internet is, you're not staying relevant. If social media happened and you don't even know or aren't on social media, you're not staying relevant, right? So I think relevancy is part of this equation here. What are you doing right now every single day to grow you, to grow your skills? And are you demonstrating for other people on your team what it means to be in that position? Because when I think about leadership, and it's something I said at last year's conference, leadership to me is setting the pace, setting the example for other people to follow. If you want your people to be recruiting more, to be doing more, what are you doing? If you want your people to be at this event, are you at this event? Well, clearly you are. And very likely, because you're here, you have other people that are watching this virtual event at the same time. But to tell somebody to go do something when you're not willing to do it yourself is not leading by example. And I think, and I've done a lot of leadership trainings over the years, but like literally one of the very first things I would say is, that focus on, on personal growth, on becoming more skilled. Because look, the number one thing I hear from people when I'm dealing with like folks that are challenged is, oh man, I'm struggling to stay consistent. That's like literally number one. Like, they want to do the business, but they're struggling to stay consistent. Well, why are they not consistent? Well, there's two primary reasons why people, and understand this, if you're struggling to stay consistent, I'm probably talking to some people, not everybody here. Some of you guys, I'm sure, are amazingly consistent. But if you're not showing up every day at the level that you know you could be or should be, then you need to look at what you're doing, because it's one of two reasons. Number one, it's a low self-confidence. like it, so then I'm going to avoid it. And those are two things that you can absolutely work on. So how do you get better? Well, you work on getting better, which goes back to that whole constant and never-ending improvement thing. Because the better we get, the better you become, the more skilled, the more confident, the more sure of yourself you become with the different things that we do in this business, prospecting and recruiting, following up, talking to people, working with your representatives, working with your affiliates, growing your team. The more confidence you have with that, the more likely you're going to do it. And in other words, you'll be more consistent at it. So this is something I talk about so often, this idea of becoming uber consistent in what you do. Because, and look, every book that's ever been written probably